Okay, this dear listener says, is it safe to say that God knows who will end up being saved and who will not? Is salvation predestined? Is it biblical? What say you?
Well, I think that God does know all who will be saved because God knows the end from the beginning. And we see this emphasized throughout both the Old and the New Testament. It doesn't take God by surprise when anything happens on earth. And one of the things we have to keep in mind is that God is beyond time altogether. He can carry out activities within the realm of time, but he himself is beyond time, meaning that the past, the present, and the future are all simultaneously present to God. Now, if that boggles your mind, it boggles my mind too. In fact, I don't think that finite minds like you and I have can understand everything that we want to understand of an infinite God. How can the finite understand the infinite? How can a temporal person like me understand an eternal being like God? You see, there's all kind of problems when we try to understand everything about this question, but one thing is certain. God knows the end from the beginning. Now, I've often talked to you, I think, Susie, if I'm recalling correctly, we've had this issue of divine sovereignty versus human free will come up before. I personally believe that Scripture teaches that both are true, that God is sovereign over people becoming believers in terms of the elect, but at the same time, human beings must choose by their own free wills to exercise faith in Jesus Christ. And they're lost up until the time that they do that. Now, how both of those are both true, I can't say definitively because the Scriptures don't tell us. But the Scriptures do say that God is sovereign and that man has a free will. And so I think that this points to what I said earlier. You know, how can the finite understand the infinite? How can the temporal understand the eternal? It is a difficult thing to ponder, but I do believe that God knows all who will be saved since he knows the end from the beginning.
Boy, well put. That is for sure. Okay, let's see here.